Long before tall buildings, busy roads, and loud machines took over the land, there was a peaceful African village called Umuowa. The village rested quietly between tall palm trees and long red earth paths that stained the feet of anyone who walked on them. Houses were built from mud and clay, roofs covered with dry thatch, and smoke from cooking fires rose gently into the evening sky. Life in Umuowa was simple, but the people believed simplicity was a blessing, not a weakness. In Umuowa, every season had meaning. The rains decided when to plant, the dry wind decided when to harvest, and Christmas decided how people treated one another. Christmas was not just a date written on a calendar. It was a season that tested the heart of every man, woman, and child in the village. At the center of this sacred season was an old man named Papa Suberi. Papa Suberi was the oldest man in Umuowa, with gray hair like ash after firewood burned, and deep wrinkles that told stories of many years. His eyes were calm and wise, and his voice carried patience. He walked slowly with a carved wooden staff, and when he spoke, even the birds seemed to listen. Papa Suberi was the keeper of the Christmas drum. The drum was carved from ancient Iroko wood and stretched with animal skin that had been preserved for generations. The people believed the drum carried the voices of their ancestors and the spirit of togetherness. Papa Suberi beat the drum only once every year on Christmas morning. When the drum sounded, it was a reminder that old quarrels must end, food must be shared, and no one should be left alone. Every evening as Christmas approached, children gathered around Papa Suberi's hut. They sat on the bare ground, legs crossed, eyes shining under the moonlight. Among them was a young boy named Ayo. Ayo was slim, dark-skinned, and almost always barefoot. His clothes were simple, but his eyes were full of curiosity. While other children ran after goats or chased one another through the village, Ayo followed stories. He followed wisdom. One evening, as the moon hung low and bright, Ayo asked a question that made the other children silent. He asked Papa Suberi why people celebrated Christmas when some families had very little. Papa Suberi smiled slowly and looked at the boy with kindness. He told Ayo that Christmas was not meant for those who had plenty alone, but for those who understood how to give, even when they had little. Those words stayed deep in Ayo's heart. Not far from Papa Suberi's hut lived Mama Neka, a widow known across Umuowa for her generosity. Mama Neka was medium in height, dark-skinned, and always dressed in simple, colorful wrappers. Life had not been kind to her, but she refused to allow hardship harden her heart. Her farm was small, her resources limited, yet her door was always open. Every Christmas, Mama Neka cooked the biggest pot of food anyone could find in Umuowa. People often wondered how she managed it. Travelers passing through the village, orphans with nowhere to go, and strangers who knew no one in Umuowa all found food and rest in her home. Whenever someone asked how she could give so much when she had little, she simply smiled and said that food multiplies when cooked with love. As the Harmattan breeze arrived and the nights grew colder, excitement spread across the village. Children practiced songs, women swept their compounds, and men repaired broken stools for visitors. Papa Suberi reminded everyone of an old belief passed down from their ancestors, that anyone who chose to eat alone on Christmas Day would taste loneliness throughout the year. Because of this, doors stayed open and pots stayed on the fire. But 2 days before Christmas, something unexpected happened. Papa Suberi fell sick. His strength left him, his hands trembled, and the sacred drum remained untouched in its corner. Word spread quickly through Umuowa, and fear followed. Without Papa Zuberi, who would beat the drum? Some villagers whispered among themselves. Others argued. A few said Christmas should be cancelled entirely. On Christmas morning, the village woke to silence. No drum echoed through the air. The joy people had prepared for seemed to fade. Some families stayed indoors. Old misunderstandings returned. Small disagreements became serious arguments. The spirit of togetherness began to disappear. Papa Zuberi lay on his mat, listening to the quietness that filled the village. His heart was heavy, not because he was sick, but because the people had forgotten the true meaning of Christmas. Outside his hut, Ayo stood quietly, staring at the drum. He remembered Papa Zuberi's words about giving and the stories about courage. His heart beat fast as he stepped closer. The drum looked heavy, and fear filled his chest, but something stronger pushed him forward. People laughed when they saw him. Some doubted him, others told him to stop. But Ayo lifted the drum with all the strength his small body could gather. His hands shook as he raised them. The first beat was not loud, but it was sincere. The second beat carried more courage. Slowly, the sound spread through the village. Doors opened, people stepped outside, children gathered, mothers paused their cooking. Something changed in the air. Moved by the bravery of a child, the people remembered. Mama Neka opened her doors again. Food was shared, apologies were spoken, laughter returned to Umuowa. Papa Zuberi smiled weakly from his mat, his eyes shining with pride. He later called Ayo to his side and told him that he had beaten a drum more powerful than wood and skin. He had beaten the drum of the heart. That Christmas, Umuowa learned a lesson that never faded. They learned that Christmas was not about perfection, wealth, or tradition alone. It was about love, courage, forgiveness, and sharing. From that day forward, the people understood that even the smallest hands could carry the greatest message. Till today, elders still tell the story of Umuowa whenever Christmas comes. They remind their children that someone, somewhere, is waiting for kindness. And they say that as long as hearts remain open, the true spirit of Christmas will never be silent.